Hello, my friends. Welcome to the show. My name's Rocky Outcrop. This is technical analysis, actual technical analysis, good, not shit. My name is Rocky Outcrop. It's a real pleasure to have you here today with me. What do we do on the show? Well, it's actually quite simple. The human brain is programmed to think that it can predict the future. We're all very used to certainties and realities, hard facts of life, such as we all are going to die one day in the end. And we believe then, off the back of that simple fact, that hard fact, that we can predict the future to the extent that when we're walking across a road, crossing the road, and cars are coming, we're telling ourselves that we're predicting the future in terms of whether a car will come around the corner or not. When in actual fact, nothing in life is certain, and at some point in the future, humans will actually invent a way to avoid death. And that's the reality of it. And there is no such thing as certainties in life, and you can't actually predict the future, which is why then you have thousands upon thousands of snake oil salesmen around the world every day trying to tell people that they can predict the future. And over here on the channel, here in Rocky Outcrop, where we do technical analysis together as a community, we use risk management. And to the casual observer, it seems like we predict the future better than anybody, when in actual fact, we're just professional traders here every day to improve our lives as a community. Thanks so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. My name's Rocky Outcrop. Let's get on with the show. So up here behind me at the minute, I have a chart, which was something which one of the Outcropticians spoke to me about last night. It's a stock. It's called ABML. What's that actually stand for? I don't really know. American Battery Metals Corporation. Interesting stuff. And what we're doing here is technical analysis. And what I did last night then with this member of the community was I looked at this chart and discussed the potential for moves in the price based on a few different factors. One of them being the recent price action, showing that the range of the prices going in how far they're likely to travel in a given day has reduced significantly over a period of time. Another thing being that when it does move towards the top side, it seems to move in very, very quickly, getting those to 16 hours, actually more like 4 to 12 hours, a day and a half, and then followed by a long period of kind of consolidation and downwards movements. Also talked about the elasticity of the particular price of this thing, and how therefore you could use that to predict where the prices would be tolerant and capable of going, where the potential is for them to go based on how well they've done in the past. If you think about it like a farmer who grows wheat every year and wants to build a fence around his crops so that he can keep the cows in the field opposite from eating all of the crops and leaning over the fence, he'll probably be able to look at how high the crops have grown over the past years and then build his fence accordingly. And that's kind of the way that we do things here. We look at the past to be able to come up with ways of managing ourselves in the present to accommodate the likely outcomes in the future, regardless of what the definite actual outcomes in the future are going to end up being. Just like Alan Watts said, then it is, of course, especially imperative to live in the present and to actually be aware of it. Life led that way is actually a life lived, as opposed to a life spent entirely in the snake oil salesman of convincing yourself that you're predicting the future when you're not actually doing so. If you'd like to know more about this and how to actually conduct yourself like that as a trader in the markets, then by all means, join up with our community. There's a shout out to Chris, for example, a great guy in the GME channel in the Discord who's been doing a lot of technical analysis based around harmonics recently with regards to various charts, and GME, who's recently just had a brand new baby girl, I believe, a new, and it's just is well done, and congratulations there, and it's taken a wee bit of time for his family. Shout out to that guy, and I hope you're doing really well. And shout out to everybody else who's part of this community. For example, Sally Mander, who no doubt right now is sat in the voice channel with the likes of D Harker and Bad Mama Jama, Investor Gadget, Smug Slug, a super sloth, whoever might happen to be there looking at charts and trading proactively. Christy Callahan most likely in there as well. So lots of really fantastic things, really fantastic community, and it's just absolutely the number one way to accelerate your progress into the future self that you planned on being. Realizing those dreams. Realizing those dreams, yeah. You know, you want to realize your dreams. You don't want to just have dreams and live in a world where everything is always tantalizingly out of touch. Instead, let's bring that into your present reality, and that's what we do together as a group. Thank you so much for being here with us this morning. We have the likes of Observe Thyself. Good morning, beautiful people. Banana Frege, Casey Herman, Civi CK, Dink, Joe Maxwell, Amber, Ghost of Dead Money, Christy Callahan, Lord Verhoeven, JT858, KP, and so many others, Brendan, Space Monkey, Raphael, and so on. It's great to see you all this morning, and I hope you're doing really well. Jamie yesterday, TradeSpotting, my brother, who has his own technical analysis channel. All of those who watch that are doomslayers fighting back against the tide of corrupt and obfuscated nefarious actors and markets and wonderful people that they are. He did a show yesterday that wasn't quite seen by everybody because YouTube sometimes suppresses notifications. It's a toughie because even the YouTube bot in the Discord didn't get the notifications, and as well, when I went to check, it still kept saying that he wasn't live when he was live, and eventually I found his video and found he'd been streaming for already an hour by the time I tuned in, or 45 minutes. It was frustrating. So always remember, of course, that it's an imperfect world. But if you want to get those, notifications and everything else as well, then we do try to keep each other informed in the Discord when people have gone live and that sort of thing. Move to the left a bit. You're off center, RockyOutcrop. Okie dokie. Thanks for that. Keeping me right. There we go. That's better. Good morning, Stephen. Good to see you. Good morning to y'all. Good morning, everybody. And Bad Mama Jama has been a member for the last 6 months. Check that out. Half a beer glass. Bad Mama Jama, thank you so much. It was good chatting with you about this stock that I have up beside me right now last night in the charts, and there's some interesting things about it that people might like to look at, and I'm just going to look into that in just a second. Fix your microphone, Rocky, says somebody. Okay, so there's a bit fixed. Whack the volume up to the top. Now it's going into the red, so that should be fixed. I don't know, man. Is that fixed? Let's hope that that's fixed. Let's call it fixed and move on with our lives. Right, so a couple of interesting things about this one. So this is a 4-hour time frame, looking back down to this thing at the start of the year. Back over here in the 16th, 15th, 10th January, etc. This thing was 2 cents. Then it went up to 4.85. It's a phenomenal rise in price of this thing. $4.85, as in 485 cents. Okay, let's call it 485 cents. It was 2 cents before. So Bad Mama Jama brought this to my attention, and it's incredibly interesting in that sense. Woo. Of course, you can see that I had a rise up, for instance, over here. A remarkable rise of 594% before dropping back down to, just like 10% up above where it started at. Eventually, overall, it rose up 20,245%. Shocking stuff. Interesting thing. Fundamentally, I don't look into the fundamentals of stocks. I think fundamentals are for people who, are wasting... Yeah, my microphone's perfect. I think fundamentals of stocks are for people. Turn your volume up, pal. For people for morons, and no point beating about the bush. But there's a couple of extra little things that are maybe worth looking at. In terms of when you've got a stock that's operating in a particular world, etc. Might be interesting to know what sort of metals that they are looking into. There's another sort of alternative to the lithium battery thing. We were talking about a company that focuses on that recently, I think. This is how I know about this, so we must have been. Can't really remember why we know about it specifically, but I know we only know about it because we look at markets. That there was a company that's got an alternative to the one that requires particular metals, and that's quite cool. Are they in China? Yeah, they are, aren't they? One of the companies in China. Anyway, there's that. That's interesting. You might like to look at that. It's kind of reminiscent of GME in a number of ways. Of course, GME being this stock over here. This has been a long year of 2021 so far in terms of consolidation sideways. If I just bring this back onto the charts, you can see, of course, the great big rise up that happened with GME, bringing in from the lows down there up to the highs. We can see that this thing went up 18,000%. So, you know, the 20,000% slightly more, but it's that same sort of thing. This having happened at, you know, with the highs in January 28th, big run up. Similar sorts of times for some of the big peaks and things like that between these two charts, but it's obviously quite different and considerably interesting stuff. We could be looking at a breakout on that one that could lead this thing. The stock I was just on, what's it called again? American Battery Metals, something like that. ABML. Could be looking at a thing like this that takes us up to 470. You actually as well could be looking at this one if you're looking long term at it and thinking that it's got the potential to 10x. That would obviously be a massive rise compared to where it started at as just like, you know, a 2-penny stock down there. It has had highs in the past where it's been up as high as sort of $1 and stuff like that, but hey. Right now on this one though, managing risk at 129, it's at 130 pre-market, so obviously there's a bit dodgy. Another stock that Bad Mama Jama likes to look at, and Bad Mama Jama, what's interesting about Bad Mama Jama? Well, he's come to me a few times with interesting stocks, you know, and I encourage people to do that, to come to each other and tell each other about stocks they find are interesting, and this is another one of them, so we might as well take a look at it. It's one we've been talking about a fair amount recently. Pre-market prices on this, 1330. What did we say would happen and what did we talk about recently with regards to this? Well, you can see here at the open and start of the show, we might as well look at kind of a couple of these little things. We talked about the need for it to close above this line, which is what it's managed to do. We've talked about the need for it to you know, in terms of where you might have cutoff points and that, you know, in terms of how your risk would go. I don't know, you could think about this in the sense of like if you're coming up to a road to cross over, you might have the desire to cross and think that it's good to go, and you might hear a noise of what sounds like a vehicle and think to yourself, well, I'm going to cross the road, I can hear a vehicle, but it doesn't seem to be getting any closer. But then you'd think to yourself, I'll definitely back away from crossing over the road if I hear the vehicle getting pretty loud and getting louder, because maybe it's going to just pop around the corner and come over and run me over. So you think about these things, and that's how you manage your life, that's how you manage risk, it's how you do things, how you conduct yourself in the world. And you don't actually stand at the edge of the road thinking, I predict that car, which I can hear, is not going to run me over, so I'm just going to close my eyes and walk across the road and pay no attention to any of the factors along the way. You don't actually do that, although a lot of people out there in the world would try and convince you that that's how you should operate yourself in the markets. So we talked about this, and yeah, okay, so let's just do the same thing again today. Starting off, we're obviously interested in finding ourselves going up from here, right? I'm not going to break this one down too much because the TA on this one's exactly the same. There are other things that we want to look at though, which I think are worth doing. Yesterday I spent considerable time at the start of the show talking about technical analysis for cryptocurrencies. In fact, if you go and look at yesterday's episode, you'll be quite mind blown by just the sheer quality of it. It's sort of thing which I should really save for talking in the Discord, and that's what I'm going to start doing now. Really overall, you can see here that that when we were talking yesterday about Chainlink, that we were in it around about let's just bring up the 24-hour chart. And look, yesterday then we were in it around about, or maybe the 1-hour charts, we can actually see exactly where we were when we were doing the TA yesterday. So where was it that we were at on this one? Yesterday was the 20th, and it was around about here, 2660, went up to 28.95. So we can just take a measurement here and say, well, that's a solid 9% move that I told everybody about for free. And it wasn't just one of them. I told people about tons and tons and tons of stuff that you could have been off the back of. People chatting away about it. The likes of Veronica, for instance, talking about this. So yesterday, you know, this is yet another one of the predictions that we've done on the show. Predictions, obviously a word that I qualify quite honestly and openly. But yeah, we were talking about this in terms of a risk management point of view, how you would look at it, and of course, done fantastically well. And I didn't just leave you stranded. Talked about how you could look at this from managing your positions. Obviously, people would have then taken profit at $28, and then perhaps still be back in again in a position again now, having had a nice solid move. For example, so obvious and really well done to you. So like all other things are kind of interesting. There's coins like this which I've told people about for ages to be interested in. $375 currently per unit on Kusama. It's an interesting one. Nice movements it's had recently. Living in the 618 golden pocket, so I'm not going to tell people who are taking profit right now that they're doing anything wrong. But obviously good moves on that one. It's the sister coin, or like the testnet of Polkadot. Wow, what a great coin this has been of late. Done fantastic stuff on this one. Nice little bull flag that happened here and got continuation outside of the consolidation here. We did talk about what would happen if this pulled down the way, where we'd be looking for and why, with regards to the movements between, $31 and $26. Of course, I myself got into a position on DOT at $26 and the thing's up at $43 at the minute. So that's nearly 100%, not quite 100% though. Solid increase in price. These are sort of things that, of course, you would have and should have and could have perhaps have been thinking about for your own trading when we're making it so easy on the show to do. So I would encourage you to think about that yourself. But I'm going to try and keep it so that the predicting side of things are waned down a little bit. Waxed. I'm going to wax them. Wax them? Waning? Waxing. Waning. Going to wane. I've been waxing on the prediction side of things a lot recently and done it to the nth degree. I think anybody that's been paying close attention to technical analysis over the last wee while would have benefited from things like the move in AMC, for instance. So AMC over here, put out a video explaining everything going on with AMC. Well, I mean, obviously I've told everybody the whole way along, but we were talking about it in it here at $33. I mean, currently the price of it's $40, right? More than 20% towards the top side, and that's more than enough. Most people working in a professional environment would be done for the year, already. But this is just it, again and again and again and again and again and again and again. And none of it is actually predicting the future. All of it is just managing risk and understanding the flow and the dynamics in markets and how it works. So you can become a master at doing that, and the only way to really become a master, truly, I suppose, is to teach others. And the only way to get access to people who are worthwhile teaching for you, I would say, most likely, outside of the ones in your immediate environment who you know well and love, is in a community of people who definitely are like-minded and have got the same sort of moral, ethical life view, points of view as yourself, and want to also become the same type of lifestyle trader. So by all means, engage in teaching each other. It's something that's just so fantastic, which is helping so many people advance so quickly. And a big shout out again to you guys and girls sat in the live chat right now, if you're watching along and listening and talking, because you are absolutely amazing people. Well done to you for doing that. So where we are right now. So I would continue. Just going to encourage people to join the Discord. Just join the Discord. Go to patreon.com/RockyOutcrop. It's where all the good stuff is. Other interesting things recently, of course, are how we predicted the run up the way on Bitcoin nicely in the face of course, the difficulties really in the market. We actually did this quite nicely, bringing the whole community who were looking at this up to these points, managing all of our risk very nicely in this area, of course, as you'd expect. Then up again, managing risk along the way in this area where there's this little flagging point just here. It was obviously a profit-taking time for people too, and then nice moves following on from that up the way. Fantastic stuff. And we're back in all-time high territory. So all-time highs over here, predicted the market the entire way. Over here, called the drop. Over here, called support. We did talk about the moves and the risk management at the time, but wow, all done perfectly. So this is yet another one of these ones right now doing things, I suppose, and we want to keep an eye out for the Bitcoin dominance. Haven't seen it come up here to that area, and what's happened over the last couple of days is it has, of course, dropped down the way from the highs when we spoke about it at 47.47 down to 45.13. Was looking for this thing to come in for 47. 244 or so in the Bitcoin dominance. So still hoping to see another day or two of good strength on altcoins. Yesterday, what prices were Ethereum when we were talking about them? Well, they were certainly sub $4,000, and here they are now up there at 4,200. This is exactly the sort of thing that we do on the show on a daily basis. Honestly, people sometimes come along and say, why do people super chat? Well, some people, you know, a lot of the times, other, you know, people then answer that question for them because of the amount of, you know, some people it's just the sheer amount of money that they're making after watching the channel. It's grotesque, and they want to send some of that value back the way, which I encourage. So thanks very much. And then to other people, it's just because they understand the value of what they're watching. They don't want me to stop. So those are your answers for people who are like that. I mean, for some answers. Anyway, up here at 4,244, fantastic. Wouldn't it be nice then, therefore, to know what the dynamics would be in this area if you were trading it at the minute, and how you would maybe anticipate things operating in at the all-time high territory on this thing, as we actually predicted yesterday and the day before, etc. Now, if you don't believe me as well, you can just ask Ape Andy. Ape Andy, great guy, love him. What did I say? I said, if we actually get to $2,700, you can ask him if you want. Personal direct text message, I told this guy. Then we're going to 4,000. So congratulations, Ape Andy. Really happy for you that you got your 2,700 up to $4,000 move on Ethereum. Bang, bing bong. You know, as does everybody else. And thanks so much for telling everybody. You're such a wonderful human being, Ape Andy. Andy Lee, if you don't know him, check him out on Twitter and YouTube. Such a fantastic person. Love you so much, man. Thanks for being a support along the way. And you know, of course, like everybody else, that you're tuning into the #1 technical analysis show on Earth. This is the pitchfork that we've been talking about with regards to Ethereum recently, and you can see the prices of this thing obviously pushing up towards our big grotesque targets. Here we are in there's no way that we're going to allow ourselves to lose any money on this one territory, having you know, here we are in sort of, let's say, somewhere up to 57% profit, 60% profit. There's no way that we're ending up this trade without being in profit. Right? Brilliant. Fantastic. So we're definitely getting to the other side of the road and not getting run over. At the minute, we're kind of like having this party for some reason crossing the road. We're running around, playing music, dancing, having drinks, all this sort of stuff right in the middle of the road like that, you know, because we're just doing so well, and we still know we're not going to get run over, which is fantastic. So back to Stockland. Back to Stockland. Now, I got somebody saying to me recently that they find it hard to follow along because the drawings, too many drawings, they said, too many drawings. I can't see continuation from one day to the next in terms of the storyline of the charts. I'd like to say to that person, you're wrong, mate. And I'm not going to really change what I do because of that. Although I should try and make it a little bit more simple, I suppose, over time. But you're completely wrong. In fact, if you do tune in every day, the person who said that doesn't tune in every day. If you did tune in every day, or if you tuned in maybe even once every other day, or certainly twice a week, then all of this stuff evolves itself out. It's all perfectly explained. And actually, it's you know, I would expect the audience to do a better job of remembering what we were talking about from one day to the next than me, to be perfectly frank about it. So if you don't find yourself in that category of people, you're probably not. It's probably not for you. Which is fine. You know, it's cool. There's plenty of places that you can look at YouTube TA. This is a place which is entirely accessible and 100% inclusive, welcome and open-armed to everybody that's a new trader and everybody that's just new into financial world and wants to get their head around what's going on. Massively supportive and really keen on all brand new traders. But it's an environment for expert traders to be in. And if you're a new trader and you want to be in the right environment from day one till the point at which you become the best trader in the world, then this is the environment for you. And we're not apologetic about that. That's just the way that it is. Pardon?
Sal says, can you pass Rocky a note for me?
Yeah.
Refresh Stream Elements to get your notifications for other donations, please.
Oh, bollocks. Is Stream Elements? I'm not sure. I don't know how to do that. So Sal's putting in a message saying I'm not getting donations properly through here, and I appreciate that so much that you said that to me. But I'm going to try go and look in to see about the thingy, but I'm not. But we're not seeing it, Jimmy. I mean, maybe it's this. Does it need to be? Maybe it's this thing that's been the problem. So sometimes Lumia stream's a bit of a problem. So that could be it. And thank you, by the way, for that. And then where's my activity doc thing? Appreciated, Sal. So I'm just going to try, for everybody that's wondering what I'm doing right now, I'm just trying to get this thing up on the screen which tells me it's activity, they call it on Stream Elements, where you get to see when people have done stuff. Jimmy, do you remember where the button is to get this to come back out? It's over here. Docs, activity feed. Is that, yeah, it's, yeah, but it's not. I can't see it.
Okay.
I'll just click.
Because your Stream Elements is too small.
Might be. Docs, activity feed. There it is. There. Thank you so much. Just looking back the way I'm seeing D Harker, Ghost of Dan, and Bad Mama Jama are the 3 people to have tipped through so far on this show. So that was 21 minutes ago, 16 minutes ago, 9 minutes ago, and I don't think I've missed anything else. But then again, you know, I appreciate that. That maybe there's been some sort of bug here at the donation. Thanks very much, but I don't know what it is. So I can see that B has joined the Patreon. So welcome to the Patreon, B. Thanks so much. That was an hour ago. Welcome to the family. How long you've been a member for, buddy? If you're watching at some point, you want to use that free thing, go on, show off to everybody, man. You must have been a member for a year or more, maybe 13, 14 months. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, that guy with the kendama. You're amazing for support. My Sharona. Good to see you. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for being here. I'm RockyOutcrop. This is the RockyOutcrop Show. We're going to take a look at some charts here. Stock market's opening up in 2 minutes. Good morning to all America. Thank you so much. Corey Bing Bong. There you go with that flair. Thanks for educating us every day. You rock. You rock, Corey. You rock. You're the rock that rocks our world. Pre-market pricing 184.39 on GME, just a few cents down from where we left off yesterday. AMC right now. And the reason we look at both of these is because there's a big chunk of people out there who are super interested in these stocks. $40.80, a few cents down from where we closed off yesterday as well. That's the current pre-market pricing. It gives us 1 minute till market's open. How about we do our squats just now? Everybody get up. Come on, get up. Let's do them. 14 squats. A minute should be enough. Come on, get up. Come on. You're not on camera if you want to be on camera. Four. Five. Nine, 10, 11, 12, 13. Last one. Well done, man. Well done. Well done, TradeSpotting. Well done, everybody. Well done, Stephen. Well done, Christy. Well done, Reese. Well done, Minner. 100% sure that you did your squats. I'm sure you did. I'm sure you weren't cheating. Markets are open. So, let's see then. Zoom on in. Zoom on in. Too many drawings, the guy says. This drawing of a man fishing. So complicated. I don't know what it means. I can't remember from one day to the next. It's a drawing of a man fishing. It's just too much of it. Although I do admit that, of course, I mean, I talk about it all the time. Of course, there's tons of drawings on here. We don't need all this stuff from the past. This was explaining stuff back then. We don't need all this stuff here either. Can I get rid of that without destroying? Yes. Okay. We don't need that either. Although it does handy to have things to show people in the past, like what happened at times. So stick that back on that one. So starting off the day, $41 already. Nice one. No gaps, no problems. Couple of cents down to start the day. Gives us a nice little platform. 184.77 at the minute on GME. No gaps, no problems. Is that right? Yep. Filled in any little gaps. AMC filled in anything. All right. Start to the day. There we go. So, nice one. This is the markets are open. wild as it is, like normally what I would do at this time is tell people exactly what's happening. Instead, we're just going to kind of watch it for a second and see how the opening range goes, and it can tell us after the fact what happened. Right? Don't need to predict the market every day. Put our energy into that too much sometimes. Just see how it goes. So good to see that that's not lower. Good to see that that's not lower. Good to see. Good to see. Bad Mama Jama. Others. Nice one, eh? Nice one. Filled in this gap, by the way, with this move. This is AHT. We filled in a gap over here with a move that we've had so far today. Other stocks we've looked at a lot recently. Oh. 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 AMAT's dropped a bit. I was talking about this one a bit recently. It would be nice to get like continuation and whatnot, but anyway, we're still in this. We're still in it. We're still in it to win it. It's the third time trying down here. Interesting one. See how this works out for us. We'll come back and check in on this in a wee while, but obviously I'm a bit concerned about that. Islands in the stream, nothing in between. This is who we are. Something, something, something. And more words like that. Song lyrics and shit. But you can't remember what they are. Keep forgetting the words to that song. Oh yeah. Nah, I don't want that on there. So consolidating in here at this minute in time, that's alright. Nice one. How did that come in with that bottom there? Pushed on down. We pushed on down to time. This is only a 5-minute time frame. What's that actually look like on a bigger time frame here? Just a couple of wicks all flat there, along there. And this is this. Interesting stuff. Right. Anyway, so let's just check in with the chat, see how everybody's getting on. I'll bring up the GME chart here, I guess, on the left. Get rid of all these drawings that are so confusing. Right, 100. Obviously, it's so nice actually in a sense when you scroll out and you see the average price jumping around. And we just put it on from March until now. The average price has been 187 from March until now. The price is at the minute 186.61. I think that's a fairly notable thing to note. So since it's so notable, I might as well note it with regards to the current price of this thing. How notable it is. It's worth noting. Right, and then there's obviously that changes, around about a bit, but you can see nice quite a while that is in around here. See that average price? Can you see the average price changing as I move the charts here on the right hand side? It's way over on the right hand side where the price is. Go along. Screw it, I'll show you different ways. There's this thing here. Oh, it's not there. It's in the... Where is it? Here. So let's see. Let's do it from the highs. A lot of people like this. Right, so that thing I've just put on the charts is called an anchored VWAP. You choose the place that it starts at, and it just averages it out from then on. If you were to have bought it consistently at the average volume weighted price for each one of these periods, all the way along here from the very start, then your average entry price on this thing, and a lot of people out there will feel like this, will be in at around about 158. Which is kind of neat, isn't it? And I think that this says a lot about the prices when we know that. Go up to the weekly time frame here. Zoom on in. By the way, just to be clear, no one else is doing this. The closest, look, Jamie does this. Jamie does. I don't think about Jamie when I say no one else, because which is totally unfair, because Jamie does do this. Other than Jamie, nobody else is doing anything, I think, in my head, anyway, my opinion, that comes remotely close to talking about things in this type of a manner. Anyway, weekly time frame right here. Damn it, this weekly time frame here. And we're looking and we're saying along here. This type of thing. This type of thing. This is our kind of cutoff in terms of like lows on the weekly, which close below here, would be closing below a significant price point. I think it's kind of fair enough to say. It's kind of fair enough to say because of this region and this region. It makes it fair enough to say. And the anchored VWAP. Don't know why it's not showing up anymore. Did I undo it by accident or something? If you got in at the very top of the market, this is silly. Got two of them on top of each other. I'm not doing this in such a way as to make it so it'd be a very good clip, am I? Right. Okay. Cool. So if you've been buying it and you'd started buying it on the 28th of January at the volume average weighted price, oh sorry, the 27th of January, the volume average weighted price, is that the right? So I want to, yeah, on the 28th of January, start buying it there. Then your average price, you know, and you'd open up the 4-hour charts, so you'd come along twice a day, right? Twice a day, you'd bought it at the volume average weighted price, just twice a day. Not just twice a day, you know, twice a day, every day. And all you'd done was just bought it at the average price. That was it. No thought about it at all. Then your average entry price at the minute is, and you bought the same amount every single time, blah, 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 obviously, because this is an average thing. Trying to make a story over an average here. But say you've done that every day, then your average price comes in at $160, $159, $158. We know that the sort of big pivot point for us here in terms of you know, one way of looking at the markets comes in at this on the weekly time frame at around about that 150 area or that whatever. If you kind of just use these lows here instead, and you're connecting up these lows and these lows and these lows, and you're going back the way just to this period of time, then you know that your entry is below this line, you know, on average, and that'll describe a lot of people overall. Now also it'll describe people kind of, a lot of them poorly, because a lot of people got in here in February at $38 and stuff like that and pulled their average down way more and didn't buy it necessarily at the peaks and did buy more at the troughs and stuff, pushing their average down quite a bit. And not everybody, of course, started buying it at the very, very peak of the market. You move this over at all, so you'd got into it before then of course it's down. So you'd got into it, say you'd started off in February, etc. But because it's over such a long period of time now, because of this consolidation, whenever this number comes in at 185, etc., you know, stick it over here. So you started buying it there, your average price is going to be $200. But but for such a long time, we're in here at this point. I think it's fair enough to make that point, that given that where we are right now is above the average volume weighted price from where we were at the 28th of January, and that's a significant thing. Going into any more detail on this when I've covered the technical analysis in the extreme, it's probably pointless for now. Having said that though, 5-minute time frame, auto button, yeah, I'm pleased. Right, so then what other things are there? Theta. So this has been kind of hanging behind slightly in this most recent run of cryptocurrencies. Now it was recently down at $6 and it's up at 620 and blah blah blah, and 5-minute time frame here. But here with this one, you can see we've made it up as high as this 620 area and been here for quite a wee while, when we've seen other things happening elsewhere which have been a lot better in terms of movements. This is consolidating at this area. I do expect this to move up. I've been expecting this to move up kind of, for a wee while in a sense. So still hoping to see that happen. Still hoping to see that happen. Too many drawings though here, obviously. Too many drawings. So let me get rid of some of them. I'll do. Yeah, so anyway, just what am I pointing out here? Just simply put that this one's been lagging behind a little bit. Another one that I was talking about yesterday in terms of being a little bit slower to get moving is XRP. It's still here, still just 3 cents away from where it was yesterday. Unlike the ones which I was talking about in terms of being a bit stronger already, etc., and having their own look of their charts up here at 28.48. Up 10% movement up on Chainlink since yesterday. And we're talking about it being strong. Talking about how this one and others have been lacking a bit. Oh my goodness. Why is it not working? Okay, cool, I will. Bingo machine's not coming on, sorry. The music played, fantastic. Thanks, Amber. The bingo machine didn't work. Wonder what that's all about. No, it was $20 super chat alerts, and the music played. The Lumia streams knows, but the machine she didn't go on. So, yeah, the plug's on and all. Maybe the Lumia stream thing broke somehow. Maybe I broke it somehow. Oh, it would have been on anyway, where it was before. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's cool. Don't worry about it. Amber asked for when she put in the things AMD. I'll just take a look at AMD for her. And what did you say before? What did Bama Majama ask for? Gevo. GEVO Inc. NASDAQ. Well, interesting. Oh, I've been on this before, so it probably was this one that he was asking for. What's this here that I've drawn on? It's not words. It's confusing. It's so confusing. Filled in, got that nice support at that gap. Didn't come down and kill it. Didn't come down and fill in the gap. Didn't come down and fill in the other gap either. So what we talked about here in the past will have been at some point probably about the need to kind of, whether or not we're going to fill in the gap or not. We just didn't quite fill it in fully and moved on up from afterwards, filling in the gap that we created on the way down there. Thanks, Gevo, TA, let's do this. So Luke Spears seems to like Gevo. What the hell is Gevo? Gevo, short for Gevo. Oh, cool, interesting. So they make Gevos, the common household item. Right, cool. Okay, so danger's obviously highlighted here by these drawings of the gaps. There's those possibilities, something to be aware of. This is obviously downward sloping here and upward sloping here. So there is a bit of a consolidation type effect on the go here, just down here, up here. And we're right at the top end of this just now. Not seeing volume at the minute, so we want to see some volume coming in here if we are going for a breakout. Jimmy talks about volume being useless. He's completely right. There are very, very few instances of where you want to see any volume, and it doesn't really tell you anything, to be perfectly honest, most of the time. Anyway, as you know, what it kind of can say, if you want to look at that SEC report that came out, is that the volume that you're going to see on the lit exchanges like NYSE or NASDAQ or whatever are going to be primarily driven by institutionals on both sides of it. So there's that, whereas the retail goes on the dark markets. But then again, at the same time, whenever those institutions and market makers who are buying and selling on behalf of retail are doing that on the dark markets. They're often hedging, etc., on the lit exchanges, and then therefore some of that volume that the institutions are putting in on the lit exchanges is on behalf of or influenced by or as a consequence of the retail market. So, oh God, it was the SEC didn't understand it again. So the SEC didn't understand that. They also explained short interest completely wrongly in the document that they had out. I pointed it out at the time when we were looking through the document. I didn't want to go into it in too much detail because, you know, not so comfortable saying that they're not talking about things accurately. Not seen anybody else mention it so far since the document came out, and I highly suspect nobody will. Your donation links are missing from the description. Not sure if you meant for that. I think it's been like this all week. Thanks again, Rocky. Yeah, I have been putting them in. They were in there. They have been putting them in, but yeah, they're missing. Thanks, Corey. And from popular demand, let's go stick them in there, and then I'll come back to this Gevo stuff in a second. And apologies to chapter making boffins out there. Thanks for this, Corey. Apologies to chapter making boffins out there who would therefore be struggling to properly name what this chapter is, because we'll come back to it again. I suppose I'll summarize what I was talking about before when we do that. So I'll just get the deets up so I can get the. I'm just dealing with this, the new. So if I go back to one of my old videos, I'll get the details, copy it over. Oh, I heard a noise there. It's one of the plants walking. It's the triffids. It's just the triffids. Don't worry. Going for a wee dander. Scared the shit out of me. Content, right? Live. Yesterday's video was phenomenal. They all are, though, aren't they? They all are. They all are. Gosh. Really, truly remarkable. Right, so shout out to Christy, who wrote this. Christy, as in the female Christy, who wrote this stuff that I'm about to stick into the description. What are you saying there, Jimmy? Or does it say something?
Maybe if you're on your main screen with those alert lists, you know, where they go 1 and 2, and it's got like the list of those people. Maybe if they saw that, they'd be more confident in stream.
Oh, maybe they'd be more confident if they saw that. Oh, let's go over to the main thing. Oh, it's not loaded up. Oh, that's why they wouldn't be confident. Of course they would be confident. Well, because it isn't fucking working. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Oh, the bastards. Why are the bastards not working? And this is what people were meaning as well, obviously. So thank you, by the way, for pointing this out. Sorry, chaps. Sorry, chaps and chapettes. Seems like they're not working. I've no idea why, because they were working before I started the stream. And yeah, they were working before I started the stream, so what can I say? They're not working now. It would be cool. I guess if I closed Stream Elements and opened it up again, that might start working. Should I do that? I could actually do that and not break the stream. Is it worth doing that? Closing Stream Elements to try and get the alerts thing to work. Is it really worth doing that? No, it's not worth doing it. Sorry. Thanks very much, everybody, for your donations. I see them. They're actually, you know, just as appreciated as they always would be. And yeah. And I'm going to go through them all and double check that I don't miss anything. And I've got Jamie here with me as well. So if you have donated and you want me to take a look at something and whatever, then you can also ping Jamie in the chat and he'll read the message and tell you. And I appreciate them just as much as I ever do, you know. So I mean, thank you. Go to your main scene and refresh on. Go to your main scene and refresh your Streamlabs, and you should get the notice there. It's being a bastard, man. I'm trying to do that. Refresh scenes. And refresh, man, it's just not doing it. Like the refresh button isn't doing anything. Thanks so much, Dave Lieb. Dave Lieb. I've always said your name wrong, or else I've always said it right. I've always had zero confidence when I've been saying your name. Thanks, Dave Lieb. Much appreciated, buddy. Brilliant. Anyway, on with the show as ever, right? GE, what the hell is this? Gevo, right? Gevo. First off, let's just actually look at what Gevo is. We'll do it this style. Gevo, search that. Energy dense liquid hydrogen carbons with net zero I guess, greenhouse gas emissions. Wow, interesting. Gevo Inc. is a renewable chemicals and advanced biofuels company headquartered in unincorporated Douglas County, Colorado, in the Denver Aurora metropolitan area. Unincorporated, that's one of those places like Laughlin or whatever. It's a Wild West area. It's unincorporated. I think unincorporated means like you pay for your own roads, kinda. You know, like you're not really part of the state stuff. You just or something. Is that what it is? Or like, I don't really know. Anyway, cool. London stock price. London stock price $6.99. $6.99. $7. Yeah, not wrong. So Gevo, this reminds me a little bit of one that is interesting. So this is like a cool green company in a sense. They're not green. Well, yeah, green. Well, I don't know if it's green or not, but it's net zero, right? Which is a hell of a lot greener than not being green. Not massively different to what do you call this thing? PCT, which has got this plastics which are not bad for the environment. I'll look at that wick coming down here. So there's this is the TA that we've done before on this thing and how you can manage your risk and talking about it. You know, you can see here, let's just go down to a 15-minute time frame or something like that. Yeah, pushed right on down. This is a classic stop hunt. As you can see here, a nice little stop hunt before pushing back up the way. Where's the risk management that we had in here? Well, look at it. It lines up within a couple of pennies. So I was saying, what did I say here in this one? That was down at 316. It went down to 1310, sorry, instead of 1316. I think when we were talking about it at the time, we were talking about these sorts of numbers and how it could go there. This is obviously the best entry. Really, it was. At the time, I was saying you could enter it here, but you know, this would be how you'd have to manage your risk, because if we go down beyond this area, it gets shit. But that's obviously would have been your best entry. Anyway, that's where we are. We're back up above that. So that's an interesting one. It's an interesting company. It's an interesting stuff. And shout out to D. Harker who's trading this thing right now. And I hope that that's going well for you. And I appreciate about the nuanced kind of overlap in terms of how this is working. I mean, broadly speaking, these are still exactly the targets and how we're trading this. Actually, I'm not 100% sure when we put in this when we talked about this as being a trade thing. Seems slightly off as well in terms of its positioning. Did I anyway, right. I'll make it easy for the chapter people. Ignore all the previous Gevo stuff, okay? If you like, if you're watching this just now. A true test of chapter makers. Are you actually watching the show, or are you just checking? No, I've bloody well clicked the eye thing as well. I get it, man. I feel like... Oh, do you think they're hidden behind something else? I see what you mean. I'll just go double check that that's not the case. Okay, chat, clock. No, they're all up above them. This bloody jar is there. See how the jar's there, but the jar's not doing anything as well. The jar's there. Was the jar there the last time I was on this screen? I think it was. Like, there's that one appearing, disappearing. The other ones. Maybe I can like refresh it in the stream elements and it'll work over there going into individually. Settings. Is there a refresh button in here? No. If I hit save, will it make it happen? Move it slightly. Save. Now reload. Ah, I moved you. You should reload. That's not happening. So for the chapter maker's sake, hi friends, this is Gevo Technical Analysis, GEVO, just starting this out here, looking at it fresh. There's this kind of consolidation happening, which could be happening, it could be actually experiencing a breakout kind of now as we talk about it, right in this region just here, looking at $7 as being that little pivot point. Is that really the case right yet? Let's kind of do a little couple of acid tests on this really quickly just to see if that is in fact what's happening. Hard to see the volume sometimes when it's on its own it's on the, oh fuck, I can't speak. Hi friends, welcome to GEVO Technical Analysis. Looking at this thing right now and asking questions about if it pushes past $7, is it conducting a breakout from this triangular shape over here? Looking at the equilateral triangle with these diminishing highs and these increasing higher lows along the way, and the price is currently right now pushing that $7 and saying, could it be a breakout? One way to kind of check that is to look in the volume and say, are we getting any more volume now than we've had recently? Because this is one of the things that you definitely want to see at breakout territory. Well, we're not seeing that just yet, but that could signal to us some momentum if we were to get that to carry through for us. Looking here at the RSI, this is just the 15-minute time frame. You can see that we've actually managed to stay about outside of the bearish control zone for the most part and lived happily inside the bullish control zone. But again, of course, these diminishing highs in here not managing to push past our previous highs, which makes sense. It means that we've not come in with any hidden bearish divergence, which is good to see, and as well as it's consolidating, so we're not really looking for that divergence, but there we have it. But in this area, we would like to see some sorts of kind of changes from this, because that's just the 15-minute time frame, and you'll see when I make a comparison between the RSI and the 15-minute and say something like the hour, that of course you can see these lower highs matching along there nicely, and then just in here the potential to maybe be changing things up. So we want to see this kind of change up. If we can come up and put equal highs and push a bit higher, etc., on the broader term time frame RSIs to go along with this, to give us that bit of momentum when we push outside of the zone. Obviously, when you're looking at things like breakouts, you're kind of asking questions about whether or not you'd come back down and retest the area afterwards as well. Right now you've got a ton of people who are looking at it in this simple way right here, where they could of course be pushing down towards the lower end and managing risk even just by saying, well, if we take out our previous highs just over there, then I'm happy enough to just ditch the trade, because otherwise I'm getting a solid 8-to-1 or whatever. They could make it a 5-to-1 trade very easily in at this region. So that sort of thing could easily be happening at the same time, worth paying attention to. Most people actually in actual fact would probably be looking something more towards 1.5-to-1, and this is where you get so much of that absurd liquidity from, where you're looking at it and saying, how are people able to make money in a market that just goes like this or whatever, and that and stuff. How are they doing that? It's because they're just going from here to 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 here. So that's the sort of thing that's also very likely in here as well at the minute. Although I prefer not to talk about that because those moves are fairly pathetic. And the value to the person watching along is fairly low unless they're actually an expert trader and scalping. Of course, as well, I'm also aware entirely of how on the if I were to go down to the low term time frames and talk about it that way, that it'd be fantastic, and that of course doing that consistently across a period of time would attract in a lot of eyeballs, but and etc. On that front, as it happens here at the breakout territory, we're looking for this thing to push on up the way, and we're looking and saying, well, if it's going to be able to do that, then we're going to want to see it living above the 236. We've got our more tolerant 236 area coming in at 693. If you're actually trading this on the small term time frames and you're looking to try and get a continuation right here, right now, you're getting in at 696 to push on up above. We're at 701. But people want this. I get told a lot of people want this type of technical analysis and stuff, and that you could trade along with this. I'm not a financial advisor, none of this financial advice, but that's the answer to what's happening right now from both the broader term perspective and the shorter term perspective. And in a sense, I should sit here and look at it for ages, but can't be asked. So we're moving on. Thanks so much. There's your GVO technical analysis. Where's my chat box? Damn you! Why are you hiding on me? I want to see your comments. I had thingies comment up the whole time there on screen. That was silly. Regardless of its backing in USD, says TradeSpotting. I wonder what he's talking about. Frank saying here, so it's too big to fail then? Oh, what's too big to fail? Oh, why?
People are speculating whether Tether's too big to fail because Tether's so very commonly used for Asians to trade crypto because of the restrictions legally. And how the flow of money when Tether's printed has so often affected the price of Bitcoin has led not people talking in chat, but this narrative to evolve. And so they're speculating whether the Evergrande's recent defaults and the problems with them trying to sell assets that they're not able now to sell to raise the money to pay off debts might cause domestic issues, which might cause money to flow out of Tether, which might have problems with
Yeah, no, that's bollocks. It's cool. Don't worry, guys. That's all bollocks. Okay, just to cover that for you. Oh, by the way, as well, the other quick answer for you is that absolutely not too big to fail, by the way. Too big to fail is to do with systemic risk, and there's nothing to do with crypto at the minute that offers any systemic risk. So don't think like that. That's moronic. But don't worry about it. I'm just joking. It could have drops. It's self-correcting mechanisms. Yeah, and also it's the best traded market. It's the freest market. It's tons of manipulation in there, etc. Self-righting mechanisms from human life and human nature. Yeah, who cares? It's not been backed one-to-one for years. It's not been backed one-to-one for years, and ever since it started, it hasn't been backed one-to-one. Yeah. And the problems with it and the failure for it in terms of systemic things come from within crypto 10 times more than because of some bloody contract they've got with the company in the real world for a number of hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, that's like, and also the amount of money that's invested in crypto in Tether is so much bigger. And also as well, it's basically moved at its point to being on a fractional basis anyway. And it only recently needs to have a certain amount to be able to cover any shock movements and that. It doesn't need to have the full amount. It doesn't need to be backed one-to-one. Yeah. I'm not gonna. You've just said it's probably made it through. Oh, good.
Like the way the world
the world
to that drop, and that was just speculative. On Tether, you're nearly guaranteed to get 1-to-1 at some point in the future.
Yeah.
How can it drop?
Yeah. So if anybody reads any of these sorts of arguments, cast your mind back to when to some of the stupidest stuff I've read this year. You'll have heard about me saying at the time. I was very unapologetic when I was saying how stupid it was, talking about what people were saying with regards to GameStop and cryptocurrencies and what the hedge funds were doing and how incredibly stupid that was. And now Bitcoin back at its all-time highs, and all those people that said that at the time, for some reason, neither look or sound stupid or have had their reputations destroyed as a result of talking about stuff which is outlandishly stupid. But the entire world was at it, so we can't really burn the entire world down, can we? But it's just stupid. And I really dislike people being stupid in front of me. However, I appreciate we all have to start somewhere, and these are good questions to have. The reason why you're asking about it is because most likely because you've read somewhere else somebody saying something where you've put faith in their opinion. And I would tell you, just don't put faith in their opinion anymore. Whoever it was that said that to you, that had any sort of analysis on it, it's just talking shite directly out of their arse. Okay, cool. So this is what I wanted to look at, though, which is way more interesting than that shite, is, no offense, but it is Evergrande. And Evergrande owing a few hundred million. I mean, come on. It's like... Too big to fail is a systemic risk issue, and this what's happening right now with Tether. Well, Tether is technically too big to fail. It isn't, and crypto has got real bloodletting self-correcting mechanisms in the market, and any familiarity with the cryptocurrency markets would indicate to you that it has got absolutely no qualms with taking things down 99% in value to get that correction on the go, and if that's what needs to happen, that's what needs to happen, and that happens. But there is zero too big to fail with regards to it. You're looking at Ethereum. Last year it was charging, you could buy Ethereum for under $100. It's $4,000 at the minute, for example. Last year you could buy things for a couple of cents that are up at, or less than a cent, they're up at 25, 30 cents, stuff like that at the minute, going up thousands upon thousands of percent. The people who would put out arguments like that have got such an extreme lack of familiarity with both the stock market, the market structure of markets in general, the reason d'etre for cryptocurrency, how cryptocurrency trading works, and what the actual infrastructure is behind it, and how the whole markets work, that they're outlandishly not worth listening to, and words that it's just not worth it. Okay, so don't. RSR stable, the RSV, something like that. Yeah, RSV, something like that. I think yeah, and it's just like that senator said. There's no such thing as stable value coins. There's just stable coins, and that. Look, familiarity with crypto markets and stuff like that doesn't come from being arrogant and all that. Like I'm kind of looking like at the minute. This isn't how it works, and I'm not trying to come across like that. It's just sadly a symptom of my mood when I hear those questions, and I'm sorry about that. But but it's like a long-term thing. It takes a long time to get really used to understanding everything that's going on, because the amount of hyperbole that exists in the markets is and the news and the media and the reporting about it is extreme, and the people who are worth listening to in the markets are extremely far and few between, are very few and far between, extremely. So the likes of massive notable names that you should be really, not listen to are things like Elon Musk and Michael Saylor over the last couple of years, last year, who've become really, well known. Portnoy, for example, it'd be so crazy to listen to anything he says, that lunatic. So, if you want to listen to what sensible, smart, intelligent people say, you can go and listen to what Vitalik Buterin says. Vitalik Buterin is one of the few people who talk sensibly about cryptocurrency and understands what it is. It's why I see Ethereum doing so well, despite things which are like massive problems with it in terms of like its gas fees and stuff like that. So there's very, 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 very few people who are worth listening to with regards to cryptocurrency at all. I highly doubt anybody that you're looking at has got anything that's actually worth listening to say about it. I highly doubt it. Sorry, no offense or anything, but it's just the way it is. All right, yeah. All right. So I was looking at this and Evergrande. Oh, Evergrande, good stuff, eh? Back down to this area, filling in this gap now. Annoyed as I am, I said in yesterday's show, I wonder when they're going to start open up trading again on it and stuff. And I was chatting with people about it last night, and I didn't realize, that it was actually going to open up again and all that. So I'm curious. I'll be in bed before this thing opens up tonight, because I do intend on getting my routine back to working better, which means I need to trade it off the live markets. Could we see this pushing on down a little bit more then, would be the question in the meantime. And really, actually, to be honest with you, we could, but I'd like to be there to see it happening if this was how it was being traded at the time when the markets open up tonight. I'm wondering about this with Evergrande. I'm wondering about it already. I'm already wondering if actually what we're really looking at was this, right? And we've already broken out of it. And if the best buy comes in at 256 and then goes back up again to fill in this gap up at 285, 288 and onwards. Now, I'm not willing to write this thing off yet. And one of the reasons why is because China is incredibly corrupt. One of the other reasons why is because America is incredibly corrupt. One of the reasons why is because money doesn't really mean anything, as America and China have done their damnedest to prove over the last 20 years. And also things like too big to fail, the complete lack of learning lessons from the economy in the past. The things like that we've learned lessons about from the economy in the past are to do with things like, really the biggest takeaway you could say about things is that the American reaction to the 2008 financial crisis is to say we would have been all right, we would have made it through, everything would have been fine had we just had a better organized system, right? That's the reality of it, which is why we're still in the situation that we're in now. It's like they don't think that things were wrong. They think that it was just a case of contraction in the money flow, like a liquidity crisis that led to like systemic failures, and that it would have been okay with a centralized counterparty, and that really all we needed to do was free up the levers in the economy to get things working properly, and it was like things like confidence and stuff like that were the problem, and that's why we need to have the central party, right? That's what they believe, okay, which is totally nuts because it's completely missing the point, and we're going to prove it to them as the world does every 10 years or so, or 10 to 15 years, whatever. So do I think that this is doomed and whatever else? Well, the more people that tell me and say that it is doomed, the less likely I'm inclined to believe that, actually, to be perfectly honest with you. So bring on the negative news. Love the fact that they're supposed to default on Saturday and that they've opened up trading again. They're going to get one more day of trading here on this thing, and that. Now, if it completely tanks, I don't care. I'm using risk management. I'd probably put in an order and say something like 250 or something like that. It would be a cutoff for me. Risking sort of a 6 cents movement on something that could move way more. Risk management for the win. And also, most people are wrong most of the time, and it's good. Also, by the way, I mean, I'm talking from a position of strength here because I actually longed this thing at 210. Yeah, anyway, right, so Evergrande. Cool. F the world. Burn it. Right, what's the next thing? Oh, right, AMD, because Amber wanted AMD. No, she didn't. She gave me 20 quid though, so AMD. Ooh, it's 4 hour time frame. Okay. If anybody cares about moves, I'll just talk about this one. Here's one that was a 17.19 to 1, looking at a risk reward of 17 to 1. Whereas we talked about a trade that you would have got in at around about $74 to take profit at $122. And what did it do? Only that perfectly. Yeah, if anybody cares about stuff. I don't care if they do or not. I'm going to take that off the charts now. Get rid of some of this other stuff as well. It was good that. Here's the chat as well. That Jamie's joke that we've been having running between the two channels recently, where Rocky loves a broadening wedge, having worked out perfectly again with that move up the way and the inflection here. I mean, we rode on afterwards, so anybody who kept some of their position open, just thinking to themselves, well, if it drops back down, then I'll close it. But if we go towards the top side, less about predicting the future, more about managing your risk. This is what we were focusing on, and this happened, as opposed to focusing on this while this happens. Do you understand? This is the snake oil salesman. This is the reality. And when you focus on this and be prepared for this, then you're winning. When you focus on this without preparing for this, then you're losing. And it happens every single time. It is the standard. The standard is more than 90% of people's perception. More than. I challenge you to find anybody in the world who doesn't talk about it that way. Like, and challenge is a big word there, and it's true. I don't think anybody could. Anyhow. So yeah, remaining up above $113 on this one. I'm going to stay fairly bullish, taking that away for now and just dropping in the moving averages for the rest of the show. And I think for the rest of the week, all I'll do is technical analysis using moving averages. Okie doke. That's it. So no more Fibonacci, no more Bollinger Band, no more bullish bearish dive. No. We'll get rid of, let's make this hard on ourselves, get rid of the DMI, we'll get rid of my preferred choices for divergences, get rid of my preferred, oh, by the way, just before we get rid of that, just show that if we're, like, now the MACD looks like that, which is my preferred way of getting rid of what it is. I'll also get rid of that. I'll leave the, I'll just stick the volume back onto the chart as well, because we don't need to have it down there on its own. Actually, there's this neat trick. Stretch out the volume when it's on its pane on its own. Then go move to existing pane above. Boom, bigger volume than we had last time. Yeah, neat trick, right? What's your favorite crypto? What's my favorite crypto?
To trade right now.
My favorite crypto to trade.
That's on Coinbase.
That's on Coinbase. Well, yeah, well, my favorite crypto to trade it's on Coinbase would probably be Tezos, right? Because Tezos is in terms of the gift horse that just keeps on giving, in terms of technical analysis being right and nice ranges and all the rest of it is great choice. But there's plenty of good ones on there. I mean, you have to overlook deliberately the big boys, Bitcoin and Ethereum, to answer that. Then there's all the other ones on there like XRP. It's not actually one of my favorite ones to trade. I mean, you can trade it from time to time. It's good enough to trade. It's good enough.
Probably going to one spot 4 and then 1.9.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was talking about. Ripple's probably got to move from where it is now at 116, it was like 113 or 110 that yesterday and stuff, up to the 130 40s and then up to 190 thereafter. And then afterwards, you're looking at going from there potentially rapidly to 240.
And that's like, when you think about it, although it's a stupid asset, although it's not the future, it's a 70 to 80% rise.
Yeah.
If somebody's got enough liquidity that they don't leverage the trade.
Yeah.
And they don't mind exactly when it happens, it's now maybe a good time to take that risk.
Yeah, that's a good time to take that risk. It's a good one. That's what we've been saying as well. If the enthusiasm continues in the markets, and if the last couple of days we've seen rises up in ways that in my mind is obvious, which means while it isn't obvious, it's been really obvious to the other people who do the same thing as me. So that's what we've been thinking is happened now.
Yeah,
I was
just what what often I find, having seen your shows over the last few months, is that you call amazing moves, you do some brilliant trades, you talk about them beforehand, and give the potential for loads of people in the audience to get really rich. But people maybe don't know, or they maybe only will buy like the Rolls Royce call because like it's such an established company and it's that they trust rather than your TA. Or they're only buying this because they're only comfortable trading traditional stocks and they're not comfortable with crypto, or and I think, and I see these moves like 1 inch going up 25%, and I think, well, some people in this audience have got 20-50 grand that they'd put in a trade, and if they were doing it safe and they knew how to do that, they'd do that and they'd make so much money trading the things you call. It's just they don't themselves as the audience know how to put the confidence from, say, the same thing you say about AMC, and they watch it go to your exact place. They don't know if they can do the same, feel the same when they're trading 1 inch maybe, because they've never heard of it and crypto's so weird. And I wonder, like, how do you get those people? Because you've called like the Tezos moves hundreds and hundreds of percent either way, maybe 20 times.
No, it's more than that.
Right, I know. So how do you? So like, how do the people? Because I would so love it if the people in this audience were able to actually be 10 times richer than they are next year without having to take crazy risks.
Okay. Well, there's plenty of ways of doing it.
And so many people trade options and lose money, and they could be making so much.
It's totally okay. So there is a confused message there. It's not.
You're so good, you can do something no one else can.
True, yeah, and yeah. So, but what I mean by a confused message, sorry, there's not a confused message there, but there's a disparate and varied audience that listens to the technical analysis on crypto. Crypto, as wrongly described by Michael Burry, does offer massive amounts of leverage potential, but Michael Burry, having been doesn't understand economics. Sorry. He doesn't understand it, so that's why he talks wrongly about it. But yeah. Sorry, that's not the point we're on. But there's people out there who trade with tons of leverage, right? And I talk to them frequently because I know that there's that crack smoking big YOLO part of the audience. I also know that there's and that they do very, very well. I also know there's plenty of people who just trade exclusively on spot and don't use any leverage. And I know that there's plenty of people out there who like to invest and hodl and stuff like that. And that there's and then in terms of regular markets, I was just talking about crypto there. I know in terms of regular markets, there's plenty of people that trade options and that they put money in and they just see it go, and they know that it's a black and white thing, and they see that they put $3,000-$4,000 into an options play, and that next month it's just gone. And stuff like that, and that they're looking for better kind of choices out there. They want to have access to certain ways of doing things and making money, but they find it too complex, or they find it whatever, right? Look, if you find yourself as being one of those people, what I would say is to take whatever it is that you're going to lose on your next options trade and get it into a cryptocurrency exchange. Now, there's plenty of ways of doing that, and I'll happily explain it to you in the Discord and stuff. Yeah, any question anybody wants to ask, I'll explain it in that. But say for example, it's to do with how do I get dollars in my bank account into dollars on an exchange to trade with. I don't see stuff like that. I can help with that. We've got plenty of affiliate codes and whatnot for crypto exchanges as well. What you could then do is you could have a few $1,000s on a crypto exchange. Okay, nothing that's going to necessarily destroy your life if you lost it all. But also something with the potential, if it 10x'd, for example, to make it so that it made your year a much better year. Okay, so the downside risk is maybe you lose it anyway. Yeah, because it's what you're prepared to lose. The upside potential is fairly good, and it doesn't need to be radical millions of dollar stuff like from the world of options or sort of crazy leverage. You can do it on spot. So I talk about this a lot. So you can trade on spot, and you can and what do I mean by spot? By the way, spot means just buying the underlying asset. What does the underlying asset mean? It means buying the actual thing itself, just like when you buy the actual shares. Except because it's cryptocurrency, you actually do own them, unlike shares, which is just a contract behind the scenes with you and the DTCC. You actually own it. It's a real fucking thing. It actually exists. It's equivalent of having gold in your house. It's the same thing, except it's done in a digital way, which is brand new, which is why it's so revolutionary, which is why people talk about it. But I'm not here to talk about cryptocurrency.
About how, because you can trade spot,
Yeah.
You can do it in a less risky way than trading options.
Yeah.
Because it's cryptocurrency, the volatility and range is so massive.
Yeah.
You can make the equivalent
Yeah.
return.
Yeah, okay, cool. So like so the risk reward is good there. You can do that. So like things like when I talk about that Chainlink thing, if you bought Chainlink yesterday with $1,000, you'd bought Chainlink yesterday when I was talking about it, and then today, regardless of what the price is right now, you sold it, you'd have $1,089 at least, right? You'd make that much money, right? That's significant. That's an amazing little bit of business to have done, and that was just in the space of a day. For example, now you could hold on to that thing and it could maybe go to $52, which means that you've got $2,000 out of it. In the meantime, it costs you nothing to hold it. You can hold it in your own account off exchange if you want to, so it's completely secure and you're not going to be exposed to any sort of like black swan exchange hack event or anything. So you've got complete and absolute control of your own finances and you become your own bank.
You can also collateralize your own debt by loaning it out to
Yeah, you can collateralize your own debt. So a lot of things that people have done recently, for example, was a big thing to do could have been when Ethereum was $100. You buy as much Ethereum as you want. Then you can go onto a DeFi exchange and a DeFi platform, and then you collateralize that debt and you take back, say, 50% of the cash on a loan back to you of the value of that crypto. So you stick in $10,000 in Ethereum. You take that Ethereum, you stick it into a DeFi platform that will give you a loan off the back of it. You get back $5,000 from it. Then you could take that $5,000 and buy some other cryptocurrency of it with it. Then over the last 6 months, what those people have gone back in and found is that their debt that they borrowed of that $5,000 is now nothing almost, because the price of it has gone from being Ethereum from being like $100 to $4,000. Their $10,000 is now worth $1 million. That they're no, I don't know, whatever. Who cares? Their $10,000 is worth a lot of money. And their collateralized debt obligation at the time then as a percentage is worth like very, 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 very little percent wise. They could sell, one Ethereum and have covered all of it and take all their family on holiday for a year.
Yeah, and that all sounds really, really complicated, hard to understand concepts that are maybe way beyond most people's heads. But the truth is, it's just clicking 16 buttons, maybe 20 buttons in a few forms, and you can get really confident at doing those processes if you're around people who've done it themselves thousands of times, like us. And both of us will help you on the Discord get from a position where you don't know what you're doing to at least being able to potentially exploit these opportunities if you want.
Yeah, totally. So there's things like that, and there's things like staking that happens. Now, staking is in a sense like a subsidy to offset against inflation on these assets, in the way that your interest in your bank account really ought to be. But we know that interest in bank accounts have always been like less than inflation. Whereas with cryptocurrency, so often the staking is, as a direct measure of that inflation. It goes directly as a reward to you, the person who's actually invested in the asset, as opposed to spread across everybody without you getting any more access to it. So you're actually protected in real time through staking against deflation of your assets, which is distinctly different to how a bank account with cash works and inflation in the normal economy. And what's the difference? Well, the difference is it's a 4-letter word. It's FAIR. It's just a bit more fair, and that's good. So you can do that sort of thing as well, and you can do all these things through the likes of Coinbase and whatnot, and then so in terms of Jimmy saying what's the best one for trading at the minute on Coinbase, there's quite a few different options, and there's decent things out there. A lot of these things are purely speculative. I mean, I was talking there about XRP. It's got nothing to do with like believing in XRP or the new financial system, or they're going to replace the goals. They're going to make a back and a standard and use XRP. It's got nothing to do with it.
XRP, it's the answer. Everyone loves the idea that you're going to be able to exchange money across the world. And for the first time, they've ever added a word to their vocabulary in the last 5 years, and they call it remittance. And they're like, it's going to solve all of the world's remittance problems. That's nonsense. It's just a good chart. It's easy to trade, and there's loads of people in it. Like,
Well, it's like
Harmony
all of
One's
these,
better
all
for
these,
the same thing.
all these liquidity across the world that's got global access solves remittance problems in so many ways. I mean, Bitcoin in itself is for that too. It's because it breaks down borders. Is the idea that it solves remittance is really funny, because remittance doesn't exist with it, and there isn't cross-border international payments with crypto. There's just payments with crypto. As me paying Jamie 5 feet away from me right now in crypto is exactly the same as me paying somebody in Shanghai. It's not a thing. It's like there's no difference there, and that solves that problem by removing that problem. And it actually doesn't actually solve the problem at all. It just takes it away. Yeah.
Speed are better in other networks.
Yeah, so like the transact. But those things. I mean, if you're just looking for remittance, if you're looking for remittance, I mean, I sort of heard an example from the guys that set up a garlic house. He's called his Garling House is his name, Brad, and he was talking smart guy. By the way, actually, he's really smart. I mean, I've actually got a ton of respect for these guys on both the technological and the manipulation fronts. XRP have paid fines to the SEC and settled with them for manipulation. And that's one of the things that's actually official, that they've officially done. And hats off to them, because they did it very well. So there's like the enemy and the enemy that they respect, and that. Anyway, there's so one of the things that the examples he talked about when he was on a show one time was he was saying like about remittance between Mexico and the States. And it's really funny because it's like, who are you sending money to in Mexico that doesn't just want to have Tether or something anyway? It's like, who are you sending? Like, all right, yeah, Mexican. So do you want me? I'll just send them over and you can convert. I'll change my dollars here to XRP, and then you can change it from XRP to Mexican pesos, right? Yeah. No, they just wanted it in dollars, mate. Which is funny, but anyway, but it is a real thing, a very real thing, and all that. As well, like it's kind of a funny one because of the access to things like the it doesn't matter. They don't care.
And some people
I'd chart anything.
Like you don't want. I don't want to say their names, but because it's like.
Don't say anything.
There's people in the audience there who've got so much money and want to have shitloads more, and could have it if they knew how you trade crypto and had the same confidence in the chart that you do, regardless of the ticker.
You don't need to be as confident as me when it comes to trading crypto. You don't need to be as knowledgeable as me when it comes to trading crypto. You don't need to be any of these things. These are nice ambitions to have over a period of time. And I'll be around you alongside other people who are on the same journey and the same path. And eventually you'll get there anyway. But for you to start being successful at all these things is start taking control of your own destiny. It doesn't need to actually have got to some sort of massive achievement level, really, to be honest. What you can do, and a good way to do things, is to just embrace patience, to know that over a period of time that you will do well, and that process will actually accelerate in and of itself over time. So there will be an acceleration factor, and there will be increase and exponential elements to things. You just need to be patient. Don't push it, don't rush it, because these things will take care of themselves. Put some money, perhaps. I'm not a financial advisor, and please don't allow this to be kind of conceivably financial advice, but I would say to myself, if I were thinking about this, like, what would I do right now? And one example of one of the things that I would say to myself, or because that might be conceivably financial advice. One of the things that I've done over the last year, personally, which is not financial advice, just talking about things, and if people want to try and replicate that themselves, well, then I'm not going to tell them to do it or not to do it. Is to put a number of thousands of dollars into exchanges, and then at prices which I think the things could go down to using technical analysis, I've put in orders a significant percentage away from where they are now, and been happy to think that if I come back in a year's time and find that I've got the same amount of dollars in that account, I'm not going to cry about it. It's going to be fine. I'll be happy. But also, if I come back in a year's time and find that things have gone down a chunk, got those orders, moved back up again, that'll be exceedingly happy, having made a whole bunch. Recent examples of things where that I was looking at RSR. Jimmy asked me what the stablecoin version of it is, RSV, and the prices were 38, and I thought to myself, really strong chance of getting this at 34. This is 0.0038 or whatever, whatever number it is, but I was thinking 38, it's going to 34. It's currently priced at around 35, 36. It went to 34 the other day. It dropped down. I had some money in my account. I put the order in for it. I just didn't think about it much. I waited. It got that. I come back. It's made some money. How much money? Well, 34 to 35 is a significant enough price increase. If you're not thinking about things, you're having no stress to be like, oh, okay, whatever, take it or leave it. You can do what you like. But I do think think that there's still potential for more upside with that one. Similar things that you can do is like if Jimmy said, oh, you could buy some of this coin, you could buy some of that coin or whatever in the past, is you can just buy some of them and leave them there, right? Now, if you want to look into the fundamentals of it, the fundamentals are to do with things like, are they going to rug pull you? Is it got good long-term projections? You know, what does the society and the community around it think of it? Stuff like that. Can you identify risks? The owners, stuff like that. The owners, yeah, the project leaders, and stuff like that. So those sorts of things, you can look at all that sort of stuff. But you don't need to necessarily even proactively trade it. Then you can take within that same account, most likely that could be your spot thing. You could take a small percentage of that money that you've got there and go over to the leverage side of it if you wanted to, and you could use leverage, for example. Now, something that I regret not doing, but could have done, except I was busy and difficult, and life is difficult enough as it is, but it's something that I'd intended on doing but didn't do, was recently the price of Harmony 1 went up to 25 cents, and then it dropped back down to 20 to 21 cents. And I intended on buying it again there, having bought it on spot when it was low, then sold it into cash when it was high, and then had the cash there. But what I intended on doing was moving some of my money over to a leveraged account and risking just a few $100s on the potential for it to turn around and go back up to where it was at the top side with a similar size position to what I'd sold previously into cash. So I'd gone from having a spot trade that had funded my account to then taking a small amount and risking it, happily enough, and thinking I'm okay with losing that. I know what the risk and reward is on it, and I'm okay with it. I've done the math and I've done the work and I've worked out the probability, and then done that. And if I had done that, then I'd have doubled the amount of money in my account with a small amount of money on that I'd have risked with leverage to be able to do that, you know, on a risk reward basis. That was something I intended on doing. I just missed out on doing that because of time in life. But there's so many, but I don't worry about it because I'll do it 100 more times, and then again and again and again and again, because these opportunities never stop to exist. There's opportunity is something which will always be there. The biggest thing to you in life is actually opportunity cost, as opposed to opportunity. Missing opportunities is meaningless, but being inside an opportunity that prevents you from getting into another one where there's a better one comes along, now that means something. So you'd rather be inside a 10 pissing out than outside 10 pissing in. That's a good way of putting it. But it's better to be it's better to not be in a trade wishing you were in than to be in a trade wishing you were out. So just patience. I highly recommend that you subscribe to patience. I highly recommend that you think about how you've got dynamic approaches to your account. You can do things like you can earn off the back of cash. You can put cash into your account, simply not trade with it, but get a few % return a year just on your cash. You know, compared to if keeping it in some other account. Then whenever time comes around to make a trade, you can put it into something that you think is good, that you like the look of. You can make investments, you can hold things for years. The idea of hodling is like a big deal in cryptocurrency land, even though I subscribe far more to the idea of compound gains. You can buy things and you can scale into them over a period of time, scale in and scale out of positions. You can do things like simply, you know, put orders in, check and see if you've got them, come back in, stick in an order to sell it at 100% increase. You know, so you could go into an account and say, okay, I'm going to buy some Chainlink. I'm going to try and buy it at $25, and then you could have done this a couple of weeks ago and then checked in and saying, oh look, I've got some. Then you could log back into your account and say, right, I'm going to sell it at $50, 100% up from where it is now. Put the order in. It's not going to just get removed. These orders will sit on the exchange for life, like, you know, for years. If you just leave them there, it's no problem. You will actually be informed very well by any exchanges if the orders are going to be removed. It happens extremely rarely. Yeah. If it's a decentralized exchange, it'll never happen. Then you just have to wait for that to come around. You know, that sort of thing is so easy, but there's so many opportunities. And don't be perturbed or put off because I talk about all of these opportunities at once all the time on the show. I'm talking to experts. A lot of the thing that people don't realize is that I'm talking to experts, and people come along here and they watch and they sit around and they think to themselves, I don't really understand much, but I'm aware there's something good happening here. Then a few months go by and they understand everything, and then they still don't necessarily think of themselves being an expert. And well, they're not really necessarily an expert by kind of, you know, off the back of the sweat of their own back, but they've got to that stage. I talk to experts all the time. You're in the right environment, and indeed, yeah, it can get a bit confusing. It can get a bit convoluted. There can be a lot of different moving parts. We can talk about a lot of different things at once. But I'm talking to experts. You have to understand that, and that's what's going to happen over time. Is you're going to become an expert, and then eventually, you'll realize that I've been talking to you the entire time. and it's kind of, you know, I can't judge from here how close or far away you are from being an expert, but I'm talking to you. And you're the one that's going to be that expert over a period of time. And it's just about being patient. Ask the questions. You can ask them. I'll try and answer them in the Discord. And we'll get through as much of all this sort of stuff as we possibly can. I'm talking to the future then. Yeah. You can't afford. You really can't afford to miss a show. I know that there's a lot going on, but it's but you can't really afford to miss the shows, you know. Yeah, and I'm talking to the future you. The future you is going to like it.
You can't afford to miss a show. If you find it too complicated, you've missed a show.
Yeah, that's it. Jimmy just after saying, if you find it too complicated, it means you've missed a show, and you can't afford to miss one. I do explain stuff all the time. There's people who have been tuned in here, watched all the time, or who sat there not necessarily really knowing what I was talking about with the RSI, who now understand it so much better than almost every single other analyst out there, even though they don't know it themselves.
Right now and see it above 70. I mean, the RSI on Bitcoin right now is the one thing that's...
Oh, I'm not putting the RSI back on. I was going to just do other TA without it for a while, but yes. Yeah, so you're tuned into the right place. I'm not joking. In the future, the world will know about the Rocky Outcrop DMI flash. The world will know about what we've done here. The world may well know far more about some of you than they know about me, because I expect many of my apprentices out there in the world to go on to achieve some of the most wonderful, amazing things. So I fully expect in 10 years' time that a number of you will be more well known than myself. But when asked, you'll say that there's this guy out there that people should check out, and there's this community. That's you. It's disheartening to me in the extreme when people don't realize that about themselves. But I don't need to convince everybody. I realize that there's a certain percentage drop-off, which is very high. But the rest of you out there that are going to go on to become amazing, 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 world-beating people, I'm speaking to you, and I don't really give a fuck about the rest. I'm done with this conversation.
Ask me any stupid question anytime you want, and you'll try and help people.
Yeah, you can ask me any question you want anytime you like, and I'll try and help people. I was up last night at 2, 3 a.m. talking to Bad Mama Jamma just because I think he's a nice guy and he's going to go on to change the world. That's it. Everybody else can fuck off. Actually, you know what? I'm done with the show. 38 minutes past, quality. It's time for the reverse roll call. Thanks so much for tuning in, by the way, everybody, today. Really do appreciate it. I care so much about what I'm doing here. I can't put it into words, and and it comes out in my face sometimes in water, and I'm done. Right, Homer's Ghost, love you very much, man. Christy, thanks for tuning in. Me, yes, sounds good. Build Up Buchanan, you're wonderful. Simone, you're amazing. Ghost of Jiu-Jitsu, that Jiu-Jitsu guy, thanks so much. Wood69, haha, funny name, good to see you, buddy. YB Normal, great, good name, good question. Want to know the answer to that myself. Smug Slug says lol earlier on. Good to see you, pal. Banana Fridge, Jordan Buchanan, Keith Kleber, thanks so much for that. What do you think about Saitama? I just came across it last night. Still need to crypto stuff myself. Thanks. Not actually heard of Saitama. Let's have a look and see if it shows up on the charts here on a decent exchange. What I think about it is that it's purely on. Wait, it's got two pairs, Saitama and Saitama versus SHIB. Oh man, what do I think about it? Well, this has been designed to take money from people, whether that does it in an upward direction or a downward direction. That's what it's designed for, and that's what you'll get out of it. So good luck with it. I'm sure there's probably plenty of opportunity in there. It'll probably be stinking in about 6 months' time, one way or the other. DMC, thanks for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. By the way, thanks Keith for that donation. Build Up Buchanan. At some point, I would love to see basics on how to look at a new chart, a new crypto, a new coin, a new thing. Ashley says rock the world. Thanks so much for that. Ms. A, who became a member 4 months ago, thank you so much. I agree with what GME says. I find crypto scary. No need to find it scary. Everything in life is scary. People find stock market scary. People find talking about futures scary. People find commodities scary. People find looking in the mirror scary. People find going on their first date scary. People find after having spent 10 years with that person, never seen them again, scary. People find all sorts of shit scary. It changes all the time, doesn't make any sense. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Just ignore the fact you feel scared, and instead embrace your courageousness to feel proactive in the face of that. Apple Blossom, thanks so much for tuning in. Natural Friend, really do appreciate you tuning in. Ghostly Spur of Luke Spears, good guy, thanks so much. Smug Slug, Shikar Bajracharya, getting closer. Verved, thanks so much as well. What were you saying earlier on? Oakley, I changed my name so it matches Discord now. No longer Dave Lieb. Rocky Outcrop, nothing to do with your pronunciation. Haha. Okay, Vervid, thanks so much. It's actually handy when people do that. I like to know who's who. Frank, thanks for tuning in. I have to go to the main screen and look at the nations. Yeah. Well, I was always going back to do that. I was just doing the reverse roll call of everybody. Boom! Look at that nice little drop into the jar there. Really, thanks very much for everybody for being a part of what we're doing here. Where's my activity screen? Let me just bring it up. Here it is. Ms. A, thanks so much for that. Thank you for being authentic, and you're welcome. No problem. Justin tipped $50. Thanks, man. Thanks. Love you, man. Thanks for the talk. You're welcome, man. You're welcome. Jesus Christ, man. Don't do it for 50 quid. Do it because you're a nice guy. I suppose that they're both a direct consequence of the same thing, so thanks so much. Never change. Ghost of Supernova Black Hole sent $7.39. Love you and Jamie. Love you too, man. Keith, thanks for that $10. Bulldog, thanks for that as well. Erlon, Ashley, thank you. Natural Friend, thank you. Corey Bing Bong, wonderful stuff. Dave Lieb, thank you so much as well. Bad Mama Jama, that's Justin, thank you as well. Amber, Ghost of Dan, and D Harker, all you people supporting the channel all along the way, thank you so much. Good day, everybody. Hope you all have a successful day, said D earlier on this morning. Right, thank you so much for all of you and all of what you do, and I'll be back again tomorrow. What I'm going to do is, I think probably is play any homework that there is, do certain things like that. Now if you're still here and still with us and you stayed past the reverse roll call point, might as well do a little bit of chitter chatter with regards to design and logos and stuff like that, since we're here and I can show you the latest iteration of it. Let me know what you think. Talk about it in the Discord if you like, and all that sort of stuff. This is the latest stuff that's come through from Harry. It's the iteration of this kind of R yin yang O combination. I'd love to hear what you think of it. You can see it's got two styles that have been done here. The sort of the clean one, and then and a sort of slightly fatter clean one, a slightly skinnier one. You can see there's slight nuance differences in the shapes here. Slightly pointier here, slightly thicker there. So I'm loving any sort of feedback that we get in on any of them. Down here you can see that spanner type look of the lower part, the yin yang between the two circles, the way that this left edge makes an R, the R and the C together, the R and the O together, so RO. The fact that that's coincidentally kind of like a C, and that's of course my legit surname thing, as well is a nice gestalt part of this whole thing. The whole logo being designed to be super gestalt and balanced and all that sort of stuff with the nice yin and yang. I think that it's got a lot going for it. I'd love to hear what you think. And then what do you think of the sort of the graffiti or the painted on style? I think Harriet's done a fantastic job with this particular type here. Talking about type as well, then there's that font type set down below the font face of this with Rocky Outcrop. Shit, are you not seeing that on stream? Oh, you're not seeing that on stream. Okay, don't worry. I'm coming back. I don't know why I must have missed the button. So there's that one. There's Rocky Outcrop. This one. So sorry. There's that. Here's this one. And you can see. So this is the graffiti-esque type one. And then you can see going down here. There's various iterations. There are differences between these. You don't need to play spot the difference, but you can go in and look. And then there's this one here as well, which has got cleaner edges. Thank you for that. Really do appreciate it. Do something that makes you smile today, Rocky. You seem a bit irritated today. I'm lately. I am, Amber. I'm a bit. I don't know what it is. Look, I'm trying to figure it out. How do I reconcile so many different aspects of doing what I do here, to make it the best. I though that I'm not really irritated. I'm not like at all. I'm not annoyed with anybody either. I'm actually doing all right overall. It's quite hard. It's quite hard in a sense to always be. I don't know. It's quite hard in a way. I don't want to be too introspective. Lol, you should have thought of that at the start of the show, Rocky. Don't want to be too introspective on camera at any given time. But yeah, I just try various different iterations of myself, whatever they happen to be. And this is me just doing the same thing now. I'm not actually irritated at all. It's like it's the what? Yeah, Amber, I really appreciate you. You know what? I really appreciate you, and thanks so much for that. And I will do something that makes me smile today. And yeah, at times I have been irritated. I really don't mean to seem that way, but I thought super appreciate you. So yeah, there's different variations between this. You can see this the angles and the thicknesses and the pointinesses of this sort of thing changing from one of these to the next. So you can see that they're subtle, but these are considered changes. Look at the balance here between the size of the gap at the R and around the size of the shapes, and how direct that one is. And then look at the size, the way that this changes. It changes things and is quite impactful in lots of different ways. So this one here looks far more animalistic. It's got more of that bird look to it. It's got more of that seahorse look to it than this one in a way as well. And it just little subtle things. It's just little things like that. So you can see it becomes quite pointed here and quite noticeable. So there's plenty of things like that you can see as well. If you'd missed out the chat, like there's your R, and then there's an O. And that's Rocky and RockyOutcrop, and then there's a C in there as well. Kind of subtle gestalt things. Shout out to myself because my name's obviously RC is my real name initials. And then you've got in here the yin and the yang. You've got the overall shape of the thing, and then together I think it looks a bit like a seahorse or a bird. There's another type of thing that you could say looks a bit like an elephant or a woolly mammoth, and I agree with all of them as well. And I think that there's something cool about it, right? So that's that one altogether. And then you've got the sort of the 13 monkeys style, 12 monkeys style kind of art, kind of graffiti art. I think this looks like the type of thing that I can't remember the guy's name, and it's hard to pronounce it anyway. A really famous Chinese street photographer, and you might know about him. You might know about him out there. This sort of thing reminds me of his work. It's obviously not his work because he's taking photographs on the street, but there's some real to me, it feels like edgy uniqueness about it. And what I want to say about this thing is that I've not seen it anywhere else, which is a demand for me, to be perfectly honest. I need my anything that to represent me is to be perfectly unique. You could also say that it looks a little bit like an ampersand, which is nice enough because we are about connecting as well, connecting stuff. Anyway, you can let me know what you think about this thing because I want to know. So that's that news section. I've done the reverse roll calls. I've done everything. Amber, everybody else, love you so much, and all that. Just no. By the way, everybody, never worry about me. I'm always going to be here for everybody. Always. I'm so committed. There's no stopping that from happening. And I'm always trying to improve the show and whatever. Much love, right? What? Basecamp. This is I'm showing them on Basecamp. What would I show? Oh well, these are the other projects that you can see right now on Basecamp. Yeah, and if you can join in, we'd love it. Except I'm saying no, they don't even need the email address. If you want to join the Basecamp thing just now, just go over to Discord and go to the room called Your Skills Are Valuable, and you'll see a link in there, which is an open invitation link, and anybody can join. Now, we are going to have to try and streamline this a wee bit to keep it under 20, or else I'll upgrade the account. I don't really know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we're at 30 people right now, and only 20 people have got access at any given time. So either that or I upgrade it. I don't mind upgrading it, but I don't want to upgrade it for when people aren't using it, or they're just there as sort of, I could help out, but then they don't, and then I'm paying $90 a month so that they could have the privilege of feeling like they're helping out when they're not really. No offense or anything, but that's exactly what that would be. So we'll try and keep it streamlined and everything else. And yeah, so the projects at the minute, great stuff. I still want the people who haven't done this yet to come in and tell Amanda why you're here. It's not like it's a challenge. It's not like it's a job interview. It's literally just tell Amanda, what you're up to. Pardon? And Sauced. Yeah. Sorry, Bulldog and Sauced are your go-to comms. So I want everybody to tell them why you're here. So there's this to do here, and we're seeing lots of people coming in with Great answers, fantastic stuff. So I want everybody to do that.
Be assigned to the most helpful place.
Then they can be assigned to the most helpful place. Sauce is completely correct when he's talking about how we want to have team leaders on here and to discuss, to take, action and discuss and participation and everything to really happen on the Discord. But for team leaders to be here to communicate that back down the way to their to people. So we're still looking to kind of establish who those team leaders would be, etc. And it's not just team leaders, obviously, because there's a good deal of coordination and contribution that comes here, and that people are able to be sort of self-advocate and self-lead as well. So there's not just, you don't need to be subordinate to somebody is what I'm saying, but there's a lot of that. So please do express your agency. Your skills actually do matter, and there's a ton of people out there who say to me all the time, I want to help you out, but I don't want to help in just like by donating to you through a super chat and giving 30% of that money to YouTube and whatever else, and I've got valuable skills. And there's people out there who don't have that confidence, but they actually do have valuable skills. And it's an open invitation to everybody. You can come along and tell us what you're all about, and we can choose if you've got valuable skills, and how to use them. And people should be confident that that everybody there will see the best in you, and try to help. And it's fun. Well, the fun. Oh, look at the projects. Yeah, so like there's fun things people can get involved in. So like things like chat-controlled Wi-Fi claw grabber cabinets. So those claws that go down and grab a toy and then go over to the hole and drop it in. We want to have like a Wi-Fi one that's done so that people can take part in it through the chat live during a show. Stick it up behind Jamie, well specifically for Jamie's show at the minute, but we could get one here too. And then people will be able to interact through the chat and get prizes at the machine behind during the show with the king moving around. Its own specific dedicated camera like Buddy Cam, but for the claw cam. It doesn't even have to be in a cabinet. Yeah, it could go all across. It could be in the room, this claw grabbing machine. It could come around and grab stuff off the table beside you. It could do anything, right? But these type of things, okay? So then there's more lists, potential, artwork, shop, cleanup, Discord, organized members, or, whatever. Plenty of other lists. Chat-controlled pinball game. Chat-controlled golden shot game, where you'd be left, right, up, down, and shoot an arrow, burst a balloon, or whatever. Calendar schedule. So, like, this is what Chippy's been doing loads of recently. By the way, Chippy's female. Did you know that? Oh, Jimmy. Oh, yeah. It's just you've been saying such a nice guy. You've been doing that on purpose. Yeah. Okay, so I didn't know if you were doing that on purpose or not. That's funny as fuck. The wiki. The wiki project is going to be huge, by the way. I mean, we have a wiki at the minute, rockyoutcrop.com/mediawiki, but we're upgrading it to the wiki.js. So here's a wiki. You'll recognize this, Wikipedia style. So you can imagine, like, in terms of like, I would really love to be able to help out, but all I feel confident in doing is admin work, and there's no call for that. Oh my goodness, there's such a massive call for it. Look at this thing. This is the Wikipedia. We want to have the good Wikipedia in the future. Go over to my to like where I've uploaded documents, and you've got things like how I stuck in this document that I wrote about securities one time. Because I want to be able to explain to people what securities are, because nobody really knows, including like the SEC. Just kidding. But it's true. So people want to know what a share is and how you can prove what a share is. And there's so much stuff in here which people don't know about, like the Geneva Conventions, right? You've heard of the Geneva Convention. That's to do with like, war and everything. There's been Geneva Conventions to do with securities and stuff like that too. There's been them in The Hague. The Hague is where is The Hague where they came up with Human rights, yeah. Human rights was agreed at The Hague. Well, securities were agreed at The Hague as well at times. There's stuff like this. There's stuff in here which I educate people about. I just wrote this because I was like, people need to know this, So I did it, and it serves no purpose at the minute other than to be something that exists to help people. But obviously, it could go into a wiki in some form, or it could, or what? I don't know. But you might know. You might know how that might be helpful to people in a way, or how more of that could be done, or it might inspire you to do something similar. You might be able to read something like that and think, well, I could spend a week researching this sort of thing and come back with one. I mean, like, for example, that securities article. You could go and you could say to yourself, well, I'll research what it is to be determined as security by the SEC, so that people who are interested in cryptocurrencies know whether or not their cryptocurrency is likely to be determined by the SEC to be a security and cause potential issues down the road which might affect its underlying price. And then you could say, well, how would that be affected? And what are those rules? And I can just tell you off the top of my head, well, if an organization has an organization which is set up specifically to improve the value basis of that, and that they are owned by the asset itself, then they're what they're trying to do, and they do advertising and stuff like that, then it's a security. So how would that work in terms of cryptocurrencies? Well, Tezos, for example, has had a really good policy from the start of not going and paying exchanges to be listed on them. Now, most current cryptocurrencies don't have that type of integrity. So just in the same way as you see that Tezos hasn't hit like massive highs necessarily ever. I mean, it has gone up a few 100% and all the rest of it this year, etc. It's like my YouTube channel. It's like its integrity holds it back in a way, right? So what? Anyway, they don't go and pay exchanges to be listed on them, whereas a lot of other cryptocurrencies do. And that difference there is an organization trying to take action to promote the value and to increase the value of the underlying thing, which makes it a security by definition by the SEC, which is what leads to these court cases. So if somebody wanted to add that to that, they could, right? And they could explain to people, they could do that research and they could find out that. Now, that would have to be something that somebody might feel like doing themselves, but you could, right? I mean, that's just one example off the top of my head of something which on the face of it might seem like it has no value to people, but I know that anybody with a third level education or a good degree of experience working in terms of communicating with people would be able to do that no problem, or research, etc. So there's plenty of avenues for absolutely everybody to be involved in this thing, no matter what way you're doing, whether it's fun making games that float around in the room, or if it's writing articles or adding to the Wikipedia, or indeed programming a server, making websites, making applications, or just being here to help manage and organize and communicate. Great. We're done. I'm done. That's been a good show. Nah, it's not. It's been all right. It's been all right. I'll be back again tomorrow. I'll try and come up with some ideas in terms of like how to make tomorrow's show even better than ever, to be the best show that we've ever had, ever, or something like that. Don't doubt it. But we'll cover that tomorrow. Is there anything that I'm missing, Jimmy, that I need to do before it goes? Anybody said something to me? Like, could you look? No, but there's nobody asked me. Nobody. Yeah. Thanks everybody for the support and for making it possible to do these shows. The support means so much to me. It's incredible. Without it, I wouldn't be able to be here. And when I started off this dream and doing this journey, I knew that that I would obviously be talking into the vacuum and that not necessarily anybody would look. But now, what is it that I'm into this? 22 months later, I'm always every day very grateful for the support. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for tuning in. Remember to hit like on your way out the door. https://patreon.com/RockyOutcrop to be involved in the community a bit more. And just before I go, in fact, thanks Christy, thanks for being great. Thanks Navanethan, it's great to see you. What a wonderful guy. Thanks FU Money. Thanks what? Thanks Sal. Thanks Bad Mama Jama. Thanks D Harker. Thanks to everybody. Thank you all. And the ones that I haven't said thanks to, I talk to you all the time. I really do appreciate you. See you.